Today we are talking about the top 5 evidence-based interventions for brain longevity.
We're trying to translate some clinical experience and science-based knowledge to enhance your everyday life. Neuroplasticity is always a hot topic. We're just kind of trying to clean up a little bit of what's true, what's not, how to benefit from these things.
First thing I think of, I would say exercise probably.
Reaching a maximum velocity at least once a week helps keep your body feeling young.
Your brain consumes a lot of your calories in a day. That's when you're having that evening crash.
Before you start looking at supplements and hot new fads, how about we eat an extra 100 calories and see how that goes? Sleep is so good at removing toxins from your nervous system.
Biggest reason they have a hard time sleeping is because they have poor stress management.
There's no such thing as turning on or turning off neuroplasticity. It's always there. Welcome back to Brain Body Mind podcast. We're trying to translate some clinical experience and science-based knowledge to enhance your everyday life and brain optimization. So what are we talking about this week?
Today we are talking about the top 5 evidence-based interventions for brain longevity with an axon edge on it. So we're going to give our input on it, our little twist on it, what we think is important, and then we're going to go into a little bit about neuroplasticity as well.
Yeah, been hearing, I guess neuroplasticity is always a hot topic, or I guess has been for a few years, but just hearing a lot of stuff from patients and maybe what other providers talk about, and just kind of trying to clean up a little bit of what's true, what's not, how to benefit from these things, and some ultimate takeaways. So we're going to go right into some of these, the 5 evidence-based interventions for brain health. What's number 1? What's the first thing that you think of when you think brain health?
First thing I think of, I would say exercise probably.
Yeah. Between exercise, some nutrition, and
exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress management. What am I forgetting?
Maybe we can top the cake with some supplements and other things to help enhance, give you that extra edge. I guess it's always important to remember that the lifestyle and what we do on a day-to-day basis and how we talk to ourselves and the food that we consume and how we sleep and how we move our bodies always outweighs supplementation.
Yep.
Supplements are supplemental.
Yep.
Not replacements. They're not to do the job for you. They are the tip of the pyramid, the icing on the top kind of deal.
Yep.
We still have to bake the cake with everything else. So when we say exercise, what we mean by that is a variety of exercise. So some people might be runners, some people might be gym rats. Wherever you lie, you have to do a little bit of everything for proper brain health. And whatever your goal might be, if it is truly just distance or speed or weight, your brain health is important for all of that. And a good combination of each, right? A few days of resistance training, a couple days cardiovascular training. We particularly really preach and teach high velocity or sprinting. So reaching a maximum velocity at least once a week helps keep your body feeling young. It might be a little difficult to get into if we haven't, because I feel like not many people sprint.
Yeah, definitely
anymore.
Work up to it. Don't just go and try to sprint right from your porch tomorrow. But work up to it and train into it. Trying to get up to those higher heart rates, doing that max velocity is definitely going to be beneficial.
Yeah. And what we found to be beneficial when we try to take off from a dead stop, like a track start or like a track star, doesn't really work out so well, especially for us everyday people. So what we've been doing is when we take our dog for a walk and we kind of run almost intervals. So one of us stays walking, one of us might take off sprinting, and it's a slow ramp up. It's not, again, from a dead stop to a full max output. It's a walk to the jog to a run to a sprint, and we try to sustain that, and then we taper down. So it's definitely a build up of velocity and then a build back down, just to keep things safe and not pull a hamstring. But that, along with trying to get to the gym 2 to 4 days a week minimum, working into cardiovascular training about 3 days a week, these things are quite crucial.
I would also argue, too, that just keeping it novel is going to be good for your brain as well. something new that you're adding in frequently, switching up your exercises in general, because everyone gets bored to some degree doing the exact same things every single day. So switching it up to where you have, different workouts you're doing, shifting over to doing some yoga every now and then, or Pilates every now and then, or, anything that's your exercise of choice. It doesn't have to just be running, just be weights, anything like that. It can be truly whatever it is that you prefer for your workouts.
And get creative with it, right? And if, just start by doing things, so then you can start planning maybe what goals are in that field and starting to build a plan on how to get to those goals. And then you feel like you're achieving all these little micro achievements along the way until you get to that big, ran my fastest mile, or I ran that 5K, or I lifted, X amount of weight, or I sustained an hour long of walking, whatever that might be for you and your goals. You have these little micro achievements to get there, keeps you occupied, keeps you going, keeping it things fresh and new and changing, keeps things exciting and you hungry for more, which all ties into that neuroplasticity bit that we'll get into, and that dopamine and kind of that reward and motivation cycle that happens. Exercise is just fantastic in a brain aspect for cerebral blood flow and increasing how much blood gets delivered to the brain, and thus oxygen, nutrients, healing factors, growth factors. Particularly when we exercise as well, we get a release of what's called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which acts like a super grower for neurons, and it helps to encourage outsprouting and new connections into new neurons, which in some ways can enhance neuroplasticity in a positive light. Beyond exercise is nutrition and food that we put into our body. And in the clinic, you'll always hear us talking about fuel, and fuel almost in the standpoint of a economic, cellular aspect, where supply and demand very much happens in each one of our little cells all the time, every single day. And we all understand, I guess maybe in some part, economic scales, supply and demand curves. We all took high school economics, right? So if our bodies and brains demand more because we're either doing more or we're inefficient with these things, the supply needs to match that, or we're going to have some issues and injuries, or immune system issues, or things like brain fog and cognitive delays.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's not even just the physical output either. It's also the mental output too. Your brain consumes a lot of your calories in a day. And if you are doing something really strenuous, really mentally taxing, and you're not supplementing, getting enough fuel on the back end, then you're going to feel that. That's when you're having that evening crash. That's when you're feeling like in the afternoon, you're not making it fully to the end of your day. You're feeling like, you're just wiped out, brain fog, fatigue, whatever, towards the end of the day. It's because you're just running out of fuel. There's no gas in the tank whenever you get to the end of the day.
And before you start looking at supplements and hot new fads of methylene blue and NAD and all these peptides, how about we eat an extra 100 calories and see how that goes?
Make sure you're getting enough protein.
Yeah, and the basic fuel and consumption of whole foods and just things that we make at home, and avoiding these ultra processed, high caloric, low density foods that we've all come so accustomed to eating on the go and not paying attention to how we eat or what we're doing. It's kind of a mindless task. So food is everything. Fuel is everything, right? We can't ask the car to go anywhere. The motor can be as good as we want it. If there's no fuel in the tank, we're going nowhere fast. So we talk a little bit about 80-20 and what we talk to, how we teach patients in the clinic, and sustainability and nutrition, and not these fad diets.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we talked about it on one of our last podcasts with the 80-20. And that's basically 80% of the time you're really good with it, really conscious about what you're eating, really making sure it's fuel for the system. Everything you're eating is with a purpose, essentially. 20% of the time you're allowed to slip up and have a cheat meal. You're allowed to, go out to eat and have a dessert. You're allowed to, just in general, eat foods that bring you happiness, because at the end of the day, you can't be restrictive all the time.
80% of the time, eat for the brain, your body, fuel. 20% of the time, indulge. Do what you want, right? And all to your tolerability as well.
And within reason.
Yeah.
As well, because the goal is not to be as restrictive as possible.
Yep.
It's to eat as much of a variety of foods as you can without switching over and eating those processed foods, without eating that stuff that's going to be detrimental to your health in general. It's typically easier to cut out a bad habit, as in eating foods that are not healthy for you, rather than adding in something new that's going to be way more beneficial for you, rather than adding in the next new supplement, adding in a superfood, whatever.
Yeah. Focus on adding, not subtracting for the most part. Yeah, we just try to avoid gluten, dairy, sugars as much as we can, 80% of those times. And if those things are tolerated well by you and you don't have, reactions or symptoms, or you're dealing with something where you can't process glutens or, high amounts of sugar, obviously don't do those. But indulge, right? Life's all about flow. Your food should be so as well. Also, eating healthy doesn't have to taste bad. It doesn't have to be bland and dry, and you can get creative with things, make them taste good, do, fun twists on maybe some classic comfort foods that you really enjoy that you might have a creative idea of making that a little more healthy. So just have fun with it. Cooking can be a great time. Turn on some music, have a good time. It doesn't have to be a chore or something you have to do, or a meal that you're not looking forward to. Mm-hmm. So, get excited about food, be with it.
On the flip side.
On the third note of, things to be doing for your brain health and longevity and optimizing your nervous system and your brain itself for cognitive performance.
And really your body in general.
Yeah. Timed and appropriate levels of fasting and calories restriction. So even though we just mentioned maybe eating an extra 100 calories, we say that in the way that we take resting metabolic rates in the clinic. We see how much patients and the people and general population burns calories on a daily basis.
Especially if you're active.
And most people are under eating.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't realize how much food, healthy food, you can actually eat.
Yep. And even taking it a step further, I'm always talking about protein intake. Females especially are typically under eating, and typically under eating on protein, which is going to inherently contribute to any other underlying conditions, symptoms, whatever that we're working on. The first step I'm always going to talk about is how much are we eating? How much protein are we getting? What type of stuff are we eating?
Yep. And on another side, everybody, I think, heard about glutathione in some regards, some aspects, especially now with it being in the news and Tylenol and autism and all that stuff.
Yep.
Glutathiones are master antioxidant. We cannot produce glutathione if you are eating less than 1.1 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. That is, we have proven that. We do not go through what's called glutathione synthesis from those amino acid chains that we get from the foods and the proteins that we eat. At a minimum, we have to be above that, right? And not many people are, right?
Without consciously trying.
1.1, that's just for reference, I'm 240 pounds. That puts me at about 110 kilograms. That then puts me at about 125 grams of protein in a day, minimum, period, for me to create glutathione on my own. So before I go get an injection or an IV of glutathione, make sure we're hitting our protein marks. Otherwise, you'll never get ahead of that, and you'll be required, and you'll become very dependent on the supplemental intake of these things, right? So food is everything. Food is power, and it just, again, make them taste good, right? 500 calories from a fast food joint, or 500 calories from an entire box of mixed greens and some shredded chicken on the top and some dressing, right? Like, the volume of food and the nutrient densities vary drastically. So just keep that in mind. And fasting, staying in a moderate fast every now and then, 16 hours of fast is pretty sustainable, honestly. I mean, if you think about that, that's, you eat dinner around 8, you don't eat until lunch, right? And that puts us 1 o'clock. Am I doing my my time math correctly somewhere in there.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I would also say, though, disclaimer for that, again, females especially, this is case dependent. If you are in a place where you're metabolically able to, and you're able to use energy well enough, and sustain this, then great. You don't want to do it whenever you're having difficulties with metabolic stuff in general, hormones, all of that, because it's going to end up just being more detrimental to you.
Yep.
So once you're at a place where you are at a good enough spot health-wise to do a fast, then great. But up until that point, focus more on getting enough food, getting enough nutrition, all of that stuff, because you don't want to be fasting, especially every single day as a female, during certain phases of your cycle.
Yeah, and that pertains a lot to cycle and cycle base, right? If you can sustain that for a day, couple days, it does wonders. Fasting activates what's called autophagy and your cellular ability to turn over and clean up maybe older, less efficient cells to create new ones. This helps improve insulin sensitivity, which further helps hormones, further helps things like PCOS.
Mm-hmm.
This cleans up things like inflammation, which is also associated in hormonal imbalances, chronic fatigue, all the way to biotoxins and concussions. So fasting can do wonders. It never feels good. It should also, this line of doing a day, couple days in a week versus doing this every single day for 12 plus hours, 18 hours every single day isn't sustainable for many people as a whole. This isn't intended to be something that we continuously do every single day, more so in an active intention a handful of days.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. Be purposeful and intentful with this, as you should most of your actions and behaviors. And always staying within a calorie restriction of 100 calories or so from what you burn in a day is fantastic for brain health in those ways of reducing inflammation, improving your immune system, improving, again, blood flow and neurotransmitter productions. This lack of overindulging and always being fully satiated isn't the greatest thing, especially in brain longevity and optimization when we look at it like that. Again, if we're trying to heal from something or recover from an illness or an injury, that's a different standpoint. That requires a lot of finite change and control and kind of that's that communication between you and your providers. But again, all of this is truly coming from a brain health optimization and longevity standpoint rather than treating or curing illnesses and chronic disease. Sleep, the big
My
one.
favorite topic.
One of your favorite hobbies.
One of my hobbies.
It's just because you're so good at it, honestly.
I am.
It's not because you need that sleep. Your sleep scores are constantly in the 90s.
Years of practice.
Yeah. Sleep is so good at removing toxins from your nervous system, especially during deep sleep. We activate what's called lymphatic systems. It helps to improve it's essentially the lymphatic system for your brain, so it helps to remove toxins and inflammation, neural inflammation that might come from stress or maybe toxins or any other blood pH change, chemical imbalance, chemical change within the blood, high sugar, all the stuff.
Blood sugar, cortisol.
Yeah, excitotoxicity and glutamate issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it can help a lot in that regard in removing that stuff. It helps to strengthen and bolster a strong hippocampus, which is your memory centers, as well as your cerebellum and these Purkinje fibers, which the cerebellum is everything in balance and coordination of you and your person and your body, but also of your nervous system as a whole. Thoughts, your emotions, your learning capacity, all of these things are housed and controlled, the balance and coordination by your cerebellum. Sleep is crucial for all of these areas. I mean, just as highlights, right? It's obviously beneficial for the whole rest of your brain and everything else, but some good tools and just reminders, 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Temperature and oxygen are some of the biggest aspects of sleep health and hygiene. Everybody loves their blue blocker glasses. Everybody loves, all the what we consider sleep hygiene, right? But what's happening in the actual bedroom? Is the temperature dropping? Is there proper oxygen flow? If those two aren't present, I don't care how well you wear those blue blockers, it's not going to benefit your sleep. Yeah. So get some airflow, open a window, open the door. If it's you, a partner, a dog sleeping in a bed, you are going into a hypoxic state at night. It's what we've seen. It's likely happening. You need to have airflow going so that, and then that's just, again, not just a fan in this closed system either. You need to open the system, open the door, open a window.
Yep.
Get oxygen flowing, drop the temperature. We need a 1 degree change for us to trigger into sleep. It is important. Cold temperatures are high. I mean, I think there's even some Japanese lifestyle things that they not only do they sleep on the floor, but they drop temperatures, I believe, into the 50s.
Yeah.
And this is just for them to have the best sleep, and that's huge. So drop those temperatures and bundle up, because that is very good for deep sleep.
On that same note, stress management too, which is going to inherently affect sleep. Stress management as well, though, is super important, not only for brain health in general, but also helping with sleep, because that's a big factor we see for people. Biggest reason they have a hard time sleeping is because they have poor stress management. They're thinking about work when they're laying down to go to sleep. They're waking up in the middle of the night, mind is racing, thinking about whatever is on the plate for the next day. So that's inherently going to be good for not only sleep, but also for the brain in general.
Yep. And some of that comes back into consumption, right? And just consumption of all stimulus in your environment. When we think of rest and recovery, is that rest and recovery you laying on the couch scrolling your phone? Is that rest and recovery you lay on the couch consuming your favorite TV show?
While also sitting on your phone?
While also on your phone? Or does that rest and relaxation look like you laying on the couch doing some breath work for 5 minutes, which can be way more effective than 45 minutes of doom scrolling? Is that rest and recovery having a great time with your partner cooking in the kitchen that is otherwise productive, but also restful? Is that, doing your whatever practice, if that's, compression legs or at-home neurofeedback or, red light panels or whatever else you have access to at home? Are you doing those things while on your phone, or are you doing those things with a purposeful, intentful mindset while doing breath work and clearing out that mind? Because that's going to be all good for consolidating memory, clearing toxins out of the brain, repairing neurons, improving and strengthening, enhancing those new neuronal connections. That's where the meat and potatoes happen. Not just by doing these things, not by just saying that you're relaxing because you're not doing anything work related.
Because you're laying down, but when realistically you're not actually letting your brain relax.
Yep.
You're not resting your nervous system in general.
Yeah, you just switch and take from one stream to the next, and that's not relaxing.
I would also argue that hobbies are considered part of that rest and recovery too. Something that's a full shift of attention away from work, whatever is stressful, into something that you actually enjoy doing and that you actually enjoy challenging yourself in, even if it is mentally stimulating to a degree.
Plants, bonsai, instruments,
any of the above.
Yeah, I mean, learning a new language. Get on, maybe we're in this always in a gray zone with phone apps and being on technology versus, not whatever, but reading, whatnot. These are all benefits. If you can read or learn a language from something physical rather than something digital, it is the preferred way, but however, the convenience factor and all, we understand that. So, those would all technically be restful and truly relaxing to the nervous system that fills your cup, right? It might be frustrating, especially if it's new and you're learning it, which again, drives that neuroplasticity in this realm and just neurotransmitter balances all these things that happen when we do learn something new and we do get frustrated, and all this neuroplasticity juices flowing.
Do you want to segue into?
Well, we got supplements. We got one more.
Oh, okay,
we got
okay,
supplements.
Okay.
So the icing on the cake, everybody loves supplements now. Everybody wants that, quick fix, even though it's not pharmaceuticals, but they want something that still fixes them. That's not them having to do the work. So,
and there's a time and place for all of them,
Yeah.
Some of them you can get from your diet. Some of them you can get naturally. I mean, a lot of supplements you are producing in your body on your own. However, sometimes you do need a little boost, which is understandable.
Yep.
We are very much under the impression and the mindset that supplements are for short-term changes and that you should not be taking one specific supplement for the rest of your life. You should be rotating through supplements. You should be taking them based on what your current goals are. And as your current goals change or as you're seeing improvements, then you can switch into other ones.
Yep.
Based on your goals.
Yep. And we have basics, right, that we are staples that we usually keep in rotations in one way or the other. Things like DHA and omega-3s, things like magnesium threonate, things like a multivitamin that has all the basics, things like vitamin D and K. These are some staples that in one way or the other should be there. We have a pretty strong belief that we shouldn't be taking more than 5 or 6 at a time, just for significant impact factors, and kind of like this pill fatigue that can happen. So of those 5 staples, there's usually 2 or 3 of them always in the rotation, along with maybe a couple other that we might be trying to experiment with to get a little extra edge or enhancement in one direction or the other. But in base, if we do explore into some of these cognitive supplements like methylene blue or alpha GPC or citicoline or uridine, whatever it might be in this enhancement of those staples are going to be necessary. B vitamins are always going to be necessary for mitochondrial performance and kind of cellular energy production. So again, I guess I don't think I said that for the top 5, but omegas, B vitamins, magnesium, a multivitamin, and then vitamin D3 and K. So those are your 5 tops staples to always be kind of cycling through. But I know multivitamins can always contain a whole wide range of extra things.
Yep.
We really enjoy Orthomolecular's multivitamin called Mitocore. We also love Quicksilver's multivitamin called Daily Vitamins. It's a little liposomal action. Both are fantastic. But yeah, make sure you're getting your stuff from good sources, not Amazon or the local grocery store, unless it's in a pinch maybe. But yeah, things like methylene blue, be careful with if you're on SSRIs or antipsychotics. We can have some pretty gnarly reactions that are not safe.
With all of this is not medical advice. This is just typical supplements for brain support. Obviously, you should check in with your provider if you're going to start these things.
Yep.
And of course, make sure you're getting good quality ones. But this is not the end all be all. Don't start taking a heavy dose of B complexes tomorrow because of this, because not every B complex is good for you and good for me. Depends on the person, depends on what you have going on beneath the surface.
Yeah. I mean, it could even depend on methylation status and if that heightens anxiety or lessens anxiety,
There's so many variables with it.
Definitely be working with somebody who's knowledgeable in the space. If you're going to proceed with supplements, don't just willy-nilly that, or because you heard this on a podcast, or because you saw this on Instagram, or because this influencer just created their new line of supplements and said it was good for brain health.
Yep.
Work with somebody, do your due diligence, make sure you are on your proper things to help you. Some other fun ones out there. So like, I guess we've just mentioned methylene blue. That acts as an electron donor, helps to enhance mitochondrial electron transport chains, helps to improve cellular energy by that route. Also, through IV realm, helps to help improve oxygenation. If applied with red light, we get antiviral, antipathogenic loads. Fantastic for brain health, neuroprotection, rekindling good structure within myelin sheaths and improving neuronal outgrowthing. We have NAD and that cellular gold brick of energy and how that provides all this benefit into performance within the mitochondria. And then to the basic creatine, which is arguably one of the most powerful cognitive enhancement supplements out there. And it is also just so happens to be the cheapest. Your good old creatine monohydrate. You can get this from any GNC. You can get this online. You can get this from your Thorne and like these higher end supplement companies, but it's all the same stuff. Creatine monohydrate, 10 plus grams a day, really helps to saturate your nervous system, bringing better energy through what's called the phosphocreatine system and how you burn ATP. This helps to deliver quick replenishing of energy without needing to spend on neurotransmitters or micronutrients or transport receptors in and out of the cell. So it's highly effective. It helps boost cellular energy at the source, which can help brain performance, immune performance, gut health, fatigability, sharpness, cognitively, all the things. So we've seen it help a lot of patients post-COVID, to concussions, to TBIs, to chronic fatigue syndrome and biotoxin illness and mental health issues. So creatine is super powerful. You got what's another one? Phosphatidylcholine is a big one we use.
Yep.
Cellular membranes, always talk about cells and all this stuff with how it produces energy in the mitochondria, but the cell membrane, how it connects and communicates to the cells around it, is arguably one of the most important parts of cell health. If we can't transport things in or transport things out of the cell, there's issues. So phosphatidylcholine helps to restore that cellular membrane structure, as well as, along with things like alpha GPC
There you go.
and acetylcholine, help to provide choline groups. Same with phosphatidylcholine. And these choline groups help to build what's called acetylcholine, which is one of our biggest neurotransmitters for memory and focus and brain health. So there's so many ways that we can supplement and improve brain health on top of all these other lifestyle modifications. I know you have a few lovely supplements and herbs even. So I guess if you were to build a tea at night and take a supplement, what would you be going for?
Oh, tough question. A tea at night specific for brain health stuff?
Yeah, and I guess maybe at night's not the best
because I would
builder.
say, yeah.
Maybe let's say morning.
Because during the day, I would go for green tea always. Green tea is going to be fantastic. I mean, I would opt for that most days, even instead of coffee, just for the energy aspect of it. I know that's really good with L-theanine. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Really good for that even energy throughout the day without making you feel jittery. Really good for antioxidant support. And then as far as nighttime stuff, this kind of ties into the sleep stuff and stress support as well. Having a nighttime tea that helps just calm nervous system down, helps with essentially that gentle detoxification. Lots of chamomile to help with actually that shift into a sleepy state. A few other things that I do for either gut support, detox support, all of that. Any combination of those are typically my go-to for those. As far as supplements go, I'm a big fan of anything helping with reducing free radicals. Again, antioxidative support, all of that. So I love resveratrol. Love anything with some cinnamon in it. I'm trying to think what else.
NAC, glutathione.
I do love NAC and glutathione. Yep, I will add those in as well, typically in the form of NAC rather than just glutathione. Like to feel like I'm making the glutathione myself. So, yeah, typically detoxification support is one of the biggest things I've found for helping with cognitive support, helping with stress management, helping with sleep. I mean, it helps with all of these factors. It helps with also how you're absorbing your food properly and how your cellular membranes are intact and all of that. If you are not detoxing properly, it's going to affect all of those different areas. Yep. If you have methylation issues, it's going to affect all of those areas. It all ties together. No system is by itself. They all interact with each other. So that tends to be my take on the nervous system regulation stuff and how I supplement for it. Yep. I like to use herbs and teas and stuff as my form of supplementation typically. I feel like absorption's better, easier. It's more ritualistic and enjoyable. I get to sit and enjoy my cup of tea in the morning and at night rather than just tossing back a bunch of pills and going about my day. Yeah.
I would, also in an herbal state, for brain health, would say something like ginkgo,
Sure.
ashwagandha.
Mm-hmm.
These states
Yep.
can always help with adding in those adaptogenic blends,
Sure.
helping promote better blood flow to the brain and relaxation through GABA production.
Mm-hmm.
I guess through ginkgo and then ashwagandha, respectively. Along with that green tea, you throw that all together, take a theanine capsule, and that gives you a nice even support throughout the day and mellows out any caffeine jitters that might happen. But
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yeah, and I think everything kind of, like you said, plays together. So find a balance that works for you, and yeah, herbs can go a long way, and you can pack a lot of things into a really tasty tea,
Mm-hmm.
and have a lot of broad spectrum benefits. So yeah, I think that's our top 5. So
Yep.
exercise, good sleep, good stress management along with that, good nutrition, maybe a little fasting here and there, and then top it all off with some supplements, and you're set up for a brain that is going to run well and efficiently for a very long time. So we'll touch on neuroplasticity on the next episode.
Love it.
Just trying to keep these things shorter and more bite-sizable. So stay tuned. I know we'll probably come back in the next few weeks chatting about neuroplasticity and how we can help that and how we can guide that towards our goals. Some sneak peeks. There's no such thing as turning on or turning off neuroplasticity. It's always there. It's kind of a phenomenon of our brain, and it requires just a few things, and fun and focus is some of the best ones. So have fun, get excited about the things that we're doing this week, try to implement these 5 things, and get excited and have fun doing so, because that's going to help your brain and train to do them more. So as always, keep us posted with any topics that you want to hear about, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.